I'm Anderson Hurst. This is the Seahawks Squad Show. We're going to do an old school breakdown today as we look ahead for the biggest game of the year. Maybe not even just for the Seahawks, but maybe in the NFL regular season as well.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Robert Turbin, a.k.a. Turbo, and the Seattle Seahawks San Francisco 49er rivalry is back.
And I'm Corbin Smith. I hope that we don't see a Jacob Hollister moment, at least in a Seahawks uniform on Saturday.
Hey, 12, it's the Seahawks Squad. Everything Seattle Seahawks every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Emerald City. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get loud, 12s. The Seahawks Squad Show starts now.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, Seahawks fans and opposing fans of all ages? Welcome to the Seahawks Squad Show. This has been one that I think we've been looking forward to for a while. For a long time, it was that second Rams game, and then especially when the Seahawks won that second Rams game, it was looking ahead to Week 18 against the San Francisco 49ers. And what a matchup it is. I love what Turbo said. It looks like this rivalry is back. For everything on this Week 18 matchup. Should be Sunday Night Football. That's so dumb that it's not. I can't get the... No, we're not going to go there. We might go there. But yeah, for the number one seed, for the first round bye, Seahawks 49ers, it does not get any better than this. And we're going to do a full-on preview, breakdown of who has the edge. Head coach, quarterback, offense, defense, and then wherever it takes us from there. Because I think this game specifically warrants that treatment. But Turbo, what are your initial thoughts before we get the full-on dive headfirst into this? How are you feeling heading into Saturday night against the 49ers?
Feel great. Feel excited. This is why you play the game. This is what it's all about. This is these big moments, these big opportunities. Seal the deal in the NFC West, win the division, seal the deal on the number one seed. I mean, you get to play at home in the playoffs. This is what it's about right here, man. So I'm excited, and I really can't wait to see the game.
Corbin, what about you? I know you have thoughts because you mentioned them right before I hit the live button, and I know you're trying to save your score prediction for the Friday show as you always do, but how are you feeling heading into this one?
Look, we'll see how things play out. I'll leave it at this. My confidence level right now for this game is about a 7 out of 10 is what I would say. The Seahawks team reminds me, and Turbo, you were on this team. This Seahawks team reminds me of the 2013 squad in the sense that this team can have a first half where it just kind of seems like the foot is off the pedal and things just aren't going quite right. And then they still find a way to win by 17 points in the second half. Like they just find ways to do it. And it seems like every single week or against really good teams, they find a way to come back and win in overtime or do something crazy. Like there's something in the water this year. There's something in the DNA with this team. And the fact that the last time they beat the 49ers was last year at Levi Stadium, and how good this team, 15 road wins in 2 years. They're not going to be the least bit, fret about having to play down at Levi Stadium. And I guarantee there will be plenty of Seahawks fans that buy tickets for this game as well.
Oh yeah. I absolutely think that there will be a contingent of 12s down there, especially for how big this matchup is. Turbo, respond to that. Do you get the same vibe from this? Obviously you have different personalities, different head coach personalities, but in terms of their on-field product, do you get similar vibes from the 2013 squad?
I do. I think Corbin is he's right on that. The defense is dominant, and really that's where it starts and finishes, right? On the defensive side of the ball. Sorry, my dog goes crazy.
Your dog's excited talking about this.
Yeah, he's excited like I am. And so, matter of fact, guys, let me put you on hold. I'll be right back.
All good. Yeah, do what you need to do. No, Corbin, I totally am with you on that because I think people just kind of brush that off because they look at that 2013 squad as a kind of an outlier in Seahawks history because they were so dominant, because they had such the massive personalities on defense. They had Russell Wilson kind of balling out of his mind at that point in his career. Go ahead.
Like I said, the DNA, like they might not have the super vocal presence that say a Richard Sherman was.
Sure.
But like they've got a lot of the same ingredients. Like
Yes.
you've got a guy in Julian Love that he's not the athlete Earl Thomas was, but we saw the interception against Carolina on Sunday. Like the way that he plays instincts wise reminds me a lot of Earl Thomas. The way that he is able to just make up incredible ground quickly with his processing, make plays on the football. You've got. I think Devin Witherspoon is more in the Richard Sherman ilk. He's not quite the same trash talker, but Devin Witherspoon's got that in him. He's kind of that dog in him, and I think Tyakata kind of reminds me of the way Blanchett played for those teams. Like they've got the they've got. I think the swagger is there. Maybe it's a little more quiet than what the 13 team was, but
sure,
the DNA is very much the same. And heck, even a quarterback, like I think Sam Darnold and Russell Wilson, there's clear differences between them and how they do things. But at the same time, the way they carry themselves and just kind of that nothing's going to get to me. If I make a mistake, I'm going to come back and I'm going to keep fighting and I'm going to stay even keeled. I see a lot of parallels between that team and this team.
Yeah, I now that you say that, of course, I'm not comparing these players one-to-one, but you have the same roles. You have the Ernest Jones as your Bobby Wagner. You got Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams as your Cliff Averill and Michael Bennett, right? Kind of the dominant defensive line. Different positions, I know, slightly, but dominant.
I think Drake Thomas is a really good Malcolm Smith comparison here.
Yeah.
A late round guy that can move around and just makes plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely buy that. Turbo, you were talking about how this team reminds you a little bit of the 2013 squad.
Yeah, in their own way. They're dominant defensively, the way that we were. They got enough playmaking at quarterback, the way that we did. The wide receiver position is excellent. What happened?
Somebody said that you're coming out of retirement for this week.
So for those listening on the podcast, I'm just going to read this out loud. Speaking of swagger, heard that Turbo's coming out of retirement for this week. I'm calling 14 carries, 65 yards, and a tutty, and 3 bicep flexing celebrations. Sending that to Vegas.
I'll tell you what, that stat line right there is good enough to help somebody win a fantasy championship right there. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that. But they got a lot of similar qualities. The thing about this team is that they're different. And of course, I mean, it's different players, different coaches and everything like that. They are paving their own way in their own way. And it's been beautiful to see this season.
Yeah, it's great to see. Well, let's dive a little bit into it because it's similar to 2013. Guess who's right there, guys? Guess who's right there I them for the NFC West title? It's the San Francisco 49ers. Comes down to the last week of the season. I'm a little I always hate using the word scared because I'm not scared of them as a team, but this matchup has me like a little eked out because I just think they're playing their best football at the perfect time of the year. I think that offense is explosive right now. We'll see if George Kittle plays. We'll see if Trent Williams plays. That is a big determining factor for me of how confident I feel going in to Saturday night. But Brock Purdy, man, he's playing at a very, very high level. I realize that the defense that he was playing against the Bears wasn't doing much to stop him on Monday night or Sunday night, excuse me. But the other end is he's kind of balling out right now. Christian McCaffrey's been there all year, which is crazy to think of that he's the guy that's been the consistent factor for them. Kyle Shanahan's probably had it, and Corbin, you mentioned this on Ian Furnesh's show today. Kyle Shanahan's probably had his best coaching job in his entire career this year, because of the injuries that they've dealt with, and they're still in position here at 12-4 to go and possibly win the division if they win this game on Saturday. So this is definitely not a team where they're not like the Bears who come in kind of like paper tigers, don't feel like they really deserve their record. This 49ers team has battled to get to where they are right now. So let's just do a classic matchup, and we're going to start with the head coaches because I think that's honestly, especially in these big games, this is why we hired Mike Macdonald. I'll keep saying it over and over again, to beat the Kyle Shanahans and to beat the Sean McVays in this NFC West. So guys, at this point in the year, who has the advantage at head coach going into this game? This is about as heavyweight of a battle as it gets. Corbin, I see you kind of pondering there. I'll have you go first.
Man, this is like for old school boxing fans, when it used to be good, like, I'm sorry, boxing now is terrible. I can't watch the product. It's not really a product, but Hagler and Hearns, if you want to watch real boxing in the mid 80s, look it up on YouTube when those two guys from the corner of the rings just sprinted at each other and started throwing haymakers. That was real boxing. That is the match we're looking at here, because Kyle Shanahan, the things that he does, like Clint Kubiak is trying to do a lot of those similar wrinkles in his offense, and he was on his staff for a year in San Francisco. And obviously the background with his dad being an assistant for years for Kyle Shanahan's father, like those two are ingrained in the same principles. But like Kyle Shanahan, he is the master of that offensive style and that scheme. And what he has always done so well, and this is why, Mike Macdonald kind of shrugged it off a little bit when I asked about Byron Murphy in particular yesterday, but the ability to use pre-snap motion, I don't think there is a coach in the NFL that does a better job of creating run gaps and making conflict issues in that regard for opposing defenses. Kyle Shanahan is a god at that, and it impacts the passing game as well. So that is going to be where Mike Macdonald is going to have to show his mettle here. Like, how do I set up where when they're using their motion and some of the guys, like, they've got like use check, they can move around, they've got chess pieces. How are we going to adjust to that and make sure that Christian McCaffrey doesn't have these huge running lanes and we don't have guys running wide open in the middle of the field and off play action? How can we get pressure on Brock Purdy so he isn't doing what he did Sunday night where the Chicago Bears looked like they were playing two-hand touch and they couldn't get anywhere near him? The Seahawks have to find a way to do those three things. Mike Macdonald, that is in your corner. This is as even of a match with head coaches you're going to find. Two guys that eat, sleep, and breathe X's and O's. I would give Shanahan a very, very thin advantage here just because he's been coaching longer. Okay. But this is Mike Macdonald's chance to show the rest of the NFL, like, hey, my team is here and I have arrived. I am the mastermind.
Yeah. Turbo, what do you think? Who you got?
Yeah, this one is a tough one because, I really don't know how much it matters in this scenario. I only say that because I think Mike Macdonald is continuing, each and every week and every opportunity to prove himself to be, a really good head coach. I think one of the best in the NFL at some point. I agree with Corbin that you lean towards Kyle only because of experience. Mm-hmm. And he's been doing it longer. He's been to the Super Bowl, both as a coordinator and a head coach. And so you give him that advantage there, but, experience doesn't always matter. We were an inexperienced team when we went to the playoffs and went to the Super Bowl. I think we were the second youngest team in the league at that time, and so and it didn't matter, what kind of playoff experience we had and things of that nature. And so I feel the same way for Mike Macdonald. I think, okay, you could say what you want to say. Right. He's coaching his ass off right now. So I think this is split down the middle, Anders. If I'm gonna answer your question directly, this is as even as you can get. This is as even as you can get with these two head coaches.
Yeah, it's weird because I think the job that Kyle Shanahan has done this year, if you look at the grand scheme of things with all the injuries and still here at 12-4, probably is a slightly more impressive, quote unquote, coaching job.
He should be coach of the year.
Yeah. Like, and so. I'm not trying to discount anything Mike Macdonald's done. He should be in that conversation as well. But just in terms of the surface level, okay, Niners are 12-4. No Nick Bosa, no Fred Warner for the majority of the season. They had Brock Purdy out for a couple. Like, just
Brandon Ayuk is driving
Yeah.
95 on a 35 speed limit in front of the stadium.
George Kittle's missed time.
Yeah. So, like, on the surface level, the job that he has done has been better. And I totally agree with you guys in the experience. So if you look at the grand, like, picture, you'd say Kyle Shanahan. But I actually think the matchup that Mike McDonald has a slight advantage against the Kyle Shanahan, because his defense is kind of built to stop Kyle Shanahan's offense. And that's, of course, why we brought him in. Of course, it's better to, execute and do it. And, like, I understand that the 49ers won the week 1 game, but number one, these are two completely different teams right now. And number two, it's not like the 49ers were just dominating that game, moving the ball up and down the field of Mike McDonald. We talked about this multiple times. I think the Seahawks might have played a better game than the 49ers did that day, just not end up coming out on top. And that happens sometimes in an NFL season. So I think actually right now, I'd give the slight edge to Mike McDonald. I honestly would. I like what he's been doing. Just in every single week that we go through this NFL season, the guys are getting more confident in executing his scheme. And that's something that, that early on, that's one of the things that you can point to where it's like, maybe they don't feel super confident. I know it's year 2 with him, but you still have new players and all that stuff. But now it's getting to the point where it's kind of like second nature to them. And they've been on an absolute heater since the second half of last year, and it's just continued into this year. So I give a slight edge to Mike McDonald in terms of the matchup, but in terms of the overall coaching ability and the job that they've done this year, I'd say Kyle Shanahan. So that's my long way of answering that one. We're going to do that for the rest of the matchups here today. Let's move to the offense, the running game, run defense, pass defense, all that fun stuff. Quarterbacks. That's going to be another interesting one. Let's do that one next. Let's do quarterbacks next. Sam Darnold versus Brock Purdy. I honestly don't know where you guys are going to go with this one. So we'll chat about that here on the Seahawks Squad Show as we break down and preview the biggest game of the year, Seahawks 49ers in Week 18 for the NFC West crown and the number 1 seed, first round bye, all that fun stuff here on the Seahawks Squad Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Whether you're starting a new routine or jumping into player projections for the very first time, trying something new can feel like a challenge. But with PrizePicks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure football matchups every weekend, like this one we're talking about right now, and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never slows down. And PrizePicks lets you stay in control. PrizePicks is the daily fantasy app that makes watching sports even more exciting by letting you build lineups based on player projections. No drafts, no waiting, just pick more or less and play your way. The biggest thing about this, and I'll keep saying it every single time that PrizePicks sponsors these episodes, and huge thank you to them, by the way. If you want to get juice on the game, maybe you like playing fantasy, right? Like your year-long fantasy or even daily fantasy stuff, and you want to kind of get some juice on the game, but maybe don't want to dabble in the full-on sports betting experience where you have all these granular ways of it can get overwhelming really quickly. PrizePicks is the perfect way to do it because all you do is set your lineup more or less on one stat, boom, you're good to go, and you could still make money off of the picks you make. It's that easy. PrizePicks is awesome, and I highly recommend it. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Welcome back, Seahawks Squad Show. Anderson Hurst, Robert Turbin, Corbin Smith with you today as we preview Seahawks 49ers on, wait for it, Saturday night. Just a quick thought. Like, the fact that this game isn't Sunday night is the stupidest things of stupid. Like, I understand, like, the people coming back and be like, but it's an elimination game. It's a de facto playoff game between the Ravens and the Steelers for Sunday Night Football. Yeah, I get that. But guess what also is a de facto playoff game? This one, because guess who the winner of this game gets? A first round bye. So you're kind of playing your playoff game here, especially if you're the Seahawks. Actually, I don't know. There might be a scenario where the Niners still don't get the number 1 seed if they win this game. But they have a chance to get it. And
no, they clinch it because they beat the Bears.
That's right. They did. Yeah. Okay. That's right. So the winner of this game basically wins a playoff game anyway, because you get that first round bye and you don't have to go to that wild card round. So this is also a de facto playoff game, guys. And it's between two teams that are actually have a chance to do something. Let's be honest. The Ravens and Steelers are not have any threat to go win the Super Bowl this year. So yeah, I get it. I get the whole, I don't even think it's an East Coast bias thing. I just think they saw, oh, an elimination game. You're in and you win and you're in. And that's the reason why it was the Sunday night game versus this one. But whatever. I digress.
You gotta, I mean, what's the problem, Anders? Saturday night, there's a couple of advantages here if you really think about it. Okay?
Why?
Because the Niners, they played
Sunday
the Bears when? That was Sunday. That was a Sunday night game.
Yeah.
That was a Sunday night game. Okay.
One less day for Williams and Kittle too.
It's fair.
That's a Sunday night game, so they're not going to have as much time to recover and get their bearings against them. And the other thing too is, Saturday night sets up for a hell of a celebration. Saturday night.
Oh,
you're going to win.
You're not wrong about that.
The kids are back in school Monday. So if the game was Sunday night in Seattle, there's nothing to do. We got to tuck in the, we got to tuck in the kids. You got to get ready for work in the morning. Everybody's back to normal lives. Saturday night, baby. Embrace it.
All right. Turbo's bringing me around a little bit. I just want to see the love for this matchup around the league that it deserves more than anything else. Not that it really matters that much to me. It's one day versus Saturday versus Sunday. I'm going to be watching it either way. And I like the point that Turbo brings. A nice little party atmosphere, so you don't have to worry about the next day. You can wake up nice and late, watch some more football. There you go. But yeah, I wish it was viewed like this is the game. This is the two, probably at this point, especially with the Rams loss on Monday, maybe the two best teams in the NFL going head to head with each other, at least at this point in the year. You could make that argument at least. I know, the Bills are kind of thrown into that category as well, but they didn't even win their division. So no. So yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to see a little bit more love nationally, but we're living in Seattle. We're used to it. Okay. Let's break down quarterbacks here. Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold. I think it's really just a question of trajectory for me, because Sam Darnold, the first half of this year, and Turbo brought it up in post game, we were giving him MVP conversation shouts in that first 8-9 games of the season. It hasn't been as elite, but he's still getting victories. The turnovers have been a little bit worrisome. But Brock Purdy, on the other hand, while he started off kind of slow, had an injury to deal with, he has been red hot in the last month plus. So who do you guys got? Who has the quarterback advantage right now? And I want to take it out of the context of the team that they're on, because Brock Purdy has the advantage, as we just talked about, of having Kyle Shanahan as his QB. So right now, who has the advantage at the quarterback position only? Turbo.
It's Brock Purdy. I don't understand what you just said there, though, because he has Kyle Shanahan that gives Brock Purdy an advantage.
Yeah. If you swap their positions, I think it's easier to play in San Francisco's offense than it is in Seattle's offense. Is that unfair to say?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, they both run a West Coast style.
Yeah.
But Kyle's Kyle, man. You've been in the game for a minute, since his father. He was a ball boy. Since Mike was calling a similar, type offense. And so you plug Kyle in any system.
Yeah.
Anywhere you're probably gonna be pretty good offensively. But I think it's Brock. Brock has come back from the injury. I don't think he's still 100%, but he's been excellent, man. And he's been consistent. And it doesn't matter who's out there. You lose Kittle last week. You lose Trent. And, the Bears, good football team on defense, man. And you're still able to, kind of carve these guys up, man. I thought that was pretty impressive. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am not a Brock Purdy fan like that, okay? This is very difficult for me to say because I just always thought the dude was just kind of regular,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you have to give props when props is due. And that boy Brock Purdy is playing elite football right now.
Corbin, what do you think?
I think you got to give Purdy the edge here if you are basing it off of consistency and what you're going to expect week to week. I think the thing that complicates this is I think Sam Darnold, when Sam Darnold is playing at his very best, I would take him over Brock Purdy playing at his very best. I think he has more physical tools. I think that he's got the ability to throw the ball downfield as well as anybody. But again, this is variance, though, because we've also seen what it looks like if Sam Darnold is not on his game. Or if, I'm going to say this right now, I think Clint Kubiak has a big hand in that, because I think there have been games where we're a little bit concerned about the turnovers, so we're gonna take the foot off the pedal a little bit. And I think then you're just doing a disservice to him with what he's really good at. So that to me is the issue. I would take Purdy here, but I'm just telling you that if Sam Darnold has the right game plan to work with and he's playing to his strengths and he is attacking downfield and they're moving him around a little bit, getting the launch point move, I think his ceiling when he is at his best, like we saw at the Washington game, like that Sam Darnold, when he plays like that, like good luck. Mm-hmm. So both these guys are really good quarterbacks when they're playing at their very best. I would take Purdy, but I'm just telling you that if we're looking at variance here,
sure.
Sam Darnold, I think he's the guy that he can pull a rabbit out of his hat sometimes and just play lights out.
Do you have a response to that, Turbo? No? Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna let y'all ride.
Okay. No,
I don't agree, but I'm gonna let y'all ride.
I think that's fair to say. Chris Crawford, our fourth guy who comes with us on post games, he's talked about ceiling and floor a lot with Sam Darnold, and I think that's a good way to describe it. Right? When Corbin just mentioned, when he's at his best, he can play with the best of them in football, but the frequency that we get that is a lower level than I would like it to be. And I totally agree with you, Corbin. I think
you're blindfolded. You don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah. It's like a box of chocolates. Forrest Gump. There we go. But no, I don't think Clint Kubiak does him a ton of favors, to be completely honest. I'm not saying that.
I got to ask you, Anders, what did you think of the script to open the Panthers game? Because I thought it was dog doo-doo.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest, and Turbo, I would love to hear your thoughts on this, because I think it's prevalent to what we're talking about with this game coming up, because I have been really unimpressed with a lot of these opening scripts where it just feels like if you watched Carolina's defense, I watched 4 of their games in all 22, and I'm like, they can't defend tight ends and their run defense stinks. So what do? They come out and they throw the first 4 plays. It made absolutely no sense to me. And there's been several games like that. That's why I think Sam's getting a disservice. I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, Turbo, go ahead. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I never like opening up the game with 4 runs, because you're not establishing 4 passes, because you're definitely not establishing any balance when you do that. But I will say, Corb, the Panthers defensively may be just a little underrated in terms of how good that they are. Now, it's been vastly, inconsistent throughout the entire year, but at home, they've played significantly much better than on the road. And I think their strength is their secondary. So I gave a lot of credit, honestly, to the Panthers defensively and how they performed against the Seahawks. But as far as the opening script is concerned, I'm looking at Coach Kubiak sideways if you open it up the game with 4 straight passes.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just said it there. Their strength is in their secondary. Even me as a guy who doesn't watch all 22 film can say all right, let's establish the run here. Why are we attacking their strength 4 straight times on the first drive?
I keep throwing this number out because sometimes there's just stats that you can't ignore. You know what I mean? Stats are not everything, but
sure.
71% conversion rate on third downs allowed against tight ends when they were targeted. No team was above 54%. And you watch the film and you're like, God, tight ends are running open everywhere. And what happened second half? Oh, let's try to get the ball to AJ Barner. Oh, look what happened. Some teams, like, I think this game against San Francisco, it's going to be harder to peg something like, okay, here's the rat on this defense, or here's the concept or the position they struggle with. Carolina, like, I watched 4 tapes and 4 games where the tape, and it's just like, I'm thinking, okay, my opening script, like, I'm not doing a bunch of bootlegs because they're going to bring Morig up there and he's going to blitz. Sure enough, they did that. That's what they do. And, if we're going to run play action, it's going to be a straight drop back, but we're going to run the football between the tackles, and we are going to attack the middle with the tight ends because they cannot defend it. And when they finally started doing that, almost in part because the wide receiver injuries forced them to. I just think that we joked about it on Locked On Seahawks today, but it isn't necessarily a joke. Like, if you love the water boy, like Dan Fouts, when he's like, last game of the season, don't hold anything back now. Clint Kubiak's got to start living by that mantra because I feel like he's been holding some things back in some of these games. You can't do that in late December, early January in games like this. Like, you got to have everything. All your cards got to be on deck.
Yeah, this is a de facto playoff game. We just said it. You can guarantee a first-round playoff win if you win this game. So this is kind of the first playoff game for the Seahawks and the 49ers here. So, I totally agree. And it's not like the run game wasn't working. Even in the first half, a lot of people said, by the second half, it got open with Zach Charbonnet and he started pounding. Kenneth Walker looked great in the first half too. Like, when he was getting some explosive runs to the outside, like, you got to use it, man. You got to use it. So let's hopefully, and I think you're right in pinpointing a weakness in the San Francisco defense, just because I don't think they're just not as good as the Carolina defense that you saw last week. So on that note, let's go to that side of the ball. Let's break down Seahawks offense versus Carolina or San Francisco's defense. Who has the advantage? I know we kind of just did a little bit, but I want to go deep dive and certain matchups you guys are looking for, and then overall, who do you like in terms of the trajectory as we just talked about right now? But in this huge matchup, Seahawks versus 49ers, Week 18. We'll be right back with more on the Seahawks Squad Show to break down more of this huge matchup. Let's be real. No one starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. Well, that's where Gusto comes in to take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. What's great about it is you get unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month. And their automated tools acts like offer letters, onboarding materials, and direct deposits. It saves hours every single week. And knowing you can reach certified HR experts anytime gives you the peace of mind that you need. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/LockedOnNFL and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months free payroll at gusto.com/LockedOnNFL. One more time, that's gusto.com/LockedOnNFL. Welcome back to Seahawks Squad Show. Anderson Hurst, Robert Turbin, Corbin Smith with you. We're breaking down Seahawks 49ers on Saturday night. Who has the edge? Quarterback we just did. We did Mike McDonald versus Kyle Shanahan. But now let's go to the other side of the ball. Seahawks offense as a whole versus the 49ers defense as a whole. Turbo, who you got in terms of this matchup? You can look at it all encompassing if you want, including play calling, which we just talked about. Or you can look at a specific matchup that you're kind of eyeing on for this game on Saturday.
I think the Seahawks had the advantage at every level. This is a game that the Seahawks should dominate up front on the offensive line. I think that both Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker should have success on the ground. Stopping the run has not been a strong suit for the 49ers.
Right.
They've been opportunistic, but it's not their strength. And then I think our wide receivers, JSN, I don't know what the deal is with Raheem Shaheed, if he'll be available or not. Corb, you'll probably have a little bit more information on that. But even with Coop and the tight end group, I just think all encompassing when you look at it matchup to matchup. I just think the Seahawks are better offensively than they going up against the 49ers defense.
Cord, what do you got?
Yeah, to me, there's two main areas that the Seahawks really have an advantage here. And the first one to me would actually be the off-tackle running game, because like everybody talks about Nick Bosa as a pass rusher, but the dude is a monster as a run defender too. Mm-hmm. And Michael Williams, their first-round pick, was coming around, and then he injured his knee. So they are light at the edge positions. And we saw Chicago. Chicago was testing them the entire game off tackle. I think Seattle can do that. And especially with the way they've been running on those concepts, they just did it against Carolina. I'd argue Carolina, at least is the way that they're constructed right now. Nick Scorton's going to be a really good player. I like him better than anybody that the 49ers are going to be throwing at the edge position in this game. So I think that is a big area that Seattle can win. Even if Charles Cross isn't back, Josh Jones is playing really good football. If he's not 100%, I'm saying, hey, Charles, we want you ready for the playoffs. We're going to keep rolling with Josh Jones. And he's been road grading people in the run game. It's been really fun to watch. And I think the other area to watch is Upton Stout, the rookie slot corner, going to be able to play in this game because he got concussed in that game. Now, Rashid Shaheed not being available, that could be a trade-off here. I would say it's 50-50 for both those guys to be able to play in this game. We'll see how they advance through concussion protocol. But if Upton Stout can't play, that puts a lot of stress on a cornerback group that's already had some durability concerns and some depth concerns, and they have the worst pass rushing unit in the NFL. They're dead last in sacks. They're to the bottom of the league in pressure percentage. This is not the team that they normally are when Nick Bosa. And even when Nick Bosa was healthy early in the year, they weren't getting a lot of pressure. They just don't have the hosses up front that they used to have overall. So that is going to be the key. Can you protect Sam Darnold from the blitz packages that are going to be sprinkled in there? Some of the different ways that, Robert Saleh has had to kind of reinvent himself because of the issues they've had getting pressure on teams. But I just look at the success Chicago had running the football, the after the catch capabilities. Seattle's got all the tools to do that again. And if they don't have Upton Stout, I'm looking at JSN in the slot. I'm looking at Cooper Kupp in the slot. I'm wondering, how is San Francisco going to match that up? Because if they move Lenore into the slot, then it's field day on the outside, in my opinion. So there's a lot of matchups that work there. The key is just going to be, can you handle the blitz packages? Because that's been the kryptonite for Seattle. And I'm not necessarily even saying it's on Sam Darnold. It hasn't seemed like they've always been prepared communication-wise up front for that. But the last few games have been better on that front. So if they can block it up, I think there are some big areas where they can have advantages here in this football game.
Yeah, Corbin went really specific. I'm going to go really general, red zone. That's going to be the biggest thing that I'm looking at, because while we're talking about these areas that the 49ers kind of give up a lot of talent, so to speak, and you can move the football on them, they are kind of the ultimate bend but don't break defense, because they're middle of the road points per game. So they're not like an absolute tire fire in terms of giving up points left and right, which tells me that they are a decent red zone defense. And that's been the one kind of thing that Seattle's struggled with offensively recently, especially. Now, better against the Rams a couple weeks ago. And then okay against Carolina, but still not where you want it to be. That's going to be an area where, even though you feel like you have the advantage, they can even itself out a little bit because you don't take advantage of your red zone opportunities. So I'm looking for the running game, honestly, and that, again, it's going to be just broken record. Keep running the football, especially in the red zone. I think that's going to be the biggest determining factor, whether the Seahawks can actually have a full-on, I don't want to say breakout offensively, but comeback to what they were in this first half of the season. Because a stat that Ian Furness told me today on KJR, this Seahawks offense is the highest scoring offense in team history. Does this feel like the highest scoring offense in franchise history for the Seattle Seahawks? It doesn't really feel like it to me, but I don't know about you guys.
Hell no. It don't.
But it doesn't, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. It really doesn't. When we watch them, you're like, what's going on half the time offensively, but then they find a way to score a bunch of points. So it's kind of crazy. But I feel like even Matt Hasselbeck and them boys were a lot more explosive than this.
Corbin.
It's been such it is taking feast or famine and just flexing like Turbo's biceps. Like it's feast or famine, like rocking it. And as Arnold likes to say, is pumping it up. Like it is all pumped up. Like when they are rolling, like we saw the Texans game, like they had 4 turnovers in that game, guys. And that defense is incredible for Houston. They still put up 27 points on them.
I know.
Like that's the thing. Like a lot of games were like, and they scored 27 on Sunday, and they took a half and change off. Like that. It's just a different beast than we've ever seen. Like they show up when they want to show up, and when they do, they can put points to the board as fast as anybody in this league right now. It's just. It's been frustrating with the consistency, but you're hoping that they step up level of competition like they did in the Rams game is what you're hoping.
Yeah, and I think you've played some good defenses recently, as you just pointed out. I really like Carolina's defense, as we kind of just talked about. So I think this might be a soft matchup in terms of at least the second half of this year from the 49ers. So this is a good opportunity to be like, all right, really have a statement victory here. Corey, you looked like you wanted to say something a little bit more there.
I just think, Turbo's going to love this. Like, they just got to play bully ball in this game. I think that is the key. Go out and say, we are the more physical and more talented team, and we're going to punch you in the mouth a bunch, and how do you respond to it? And Chicago, they swung the ball all over the place because it was working great. Yeah. I think Seattle's going to come out, though, and say, like, all right, we're going to take some of those shots, but we're going to set them up, and we are going to, it's going to be one of those proverbial bloody mouth games. That's how Seattle wins this game, in my opinion. You play the physical brand of football against that front, wear them down, test those edges with some physical wide zone running, some gap schemes mixed in there. If Robert Saleh starts trying to be aggressive blitzing, then I'm running some traps, I'm mixing in some power, and I'm punching them in the mouth. That's where I think they can have a huge advantage in this game.
Turbo, are these 2 best teams in football?
I think so.
It really took him a while to answer that one.
But it's hard to discredit the Rams. I know obviously they've lost the last couple weeks, but they haven't been whole. The reason why I give the advantage to the 49ers is because they haven't been whole all season.
Right.
And here they are, 1 win away from clinching the number 1 seed in the NFC. So these are the 2 best teams. The AFC, listen, Corbin mentioned, the Bills and Josh Allen earlier. I think their defense is Swiss cheese. These 2 teams right now, well, actually, no, because I think that I actually rescind my answer. The answer is no. These aren't the 2 best teams in the NFL because I think that too many of us are looking past the Eagles a little bit too much because of their distractions off the field and their inconsistencies on the field offensively. But make no mistake about it. To me, they're still the favorite to win the championship this year. Really? Right now. And so
they don't scare me.
They shouldn't. And that's fine. They shouldn't scare anybody with the way that they play. But they find ways to win games. And so I still think the Philadelphia Eagles are one of the better teams in the NFL as well still.
Okay. Corbin, are these 2 best teams in football?
No. This is not disrespecting San Francisco because I could see them win Saturday night. But at some point, that talent gap is going to catch up with them. There's only so far that you can get in this marathon when you are missing all-pro talents, and they've got multiple all-pro guys that are out. There is going to come a point where it isn't going to be about X's and O's anymore, and it's going to, the average Joes versus the pros type ordeal. That I think Seattle, when they play like they are capable of, I think Seattle is definitely a Super Bowl team at this point. They have all the goods to do it. They got to play 4 quarters. That is going to be the key here. I think Jacksonville's going to the Super Bowl in the AFC. Like, if you guys have watched them the last 6 weeks, I don't know what Liam Cohen has changed there since Seattle whipped him early in the year, but like Trevor Lawrence just looks like a different dude, and that defense is playing well. They're running the football. They're playing with confidence. Denver, I just still don't believe it. No. I just don't. I think Jacksonville right now is the team to beat in the AFC, and then I would put Seattle and the Rams. And I would probably say Chicago is my third team just because that offense can just put points up in a hurry and they can create turnovers. Those are the teams right now I think are best equipped. I'm going to throw one other team out there. This is not to get laughs if they win on Sunday night. I still think if Baltimore has Lamar Jackson healthy for the playoffs, they've got the running game. The defense has been playing a little bit better. They've got a playoff experienced team. Those kind of teams can be difficult to kick out, especially with all to me, as kind of a mediocre AFC field this year.
Yeah.
I turned and I handed off to Derrick Henry 30 times, and I just say we're gonna ride 22 as far as he's gonna take us. And if you get Jackson healthy, that could be a team that can win on the road in the AFC. I'm not saying they're gonna make a deep run, but I wouldn't be shocked if they did.
I would agree with that. I think
Baltimore has a shout. And you
they're
mentioned
a dark horse.
Yeah. And you mentioned Jacksonville. I'll throw another team the Seahawks pounded this year. How about the Houston Texans? That defense is championship caliber. CJ Stroud's finding out what he kind of made him successful in that rookie year. And they're just starting to get healthier at the perfect time. And that's a team that I don't want to face at this point in the year. What is it about Seahawks beating these guys?
I think Jacksonville's got more weapons on offense. I think that would be – I think Jacksonville's defense is not as good.
Yeah.
I think Jacksonville – I mean, I don't want to keep piling on the Raiders with all the bad things that have happened to them this year, but when they traded their number one receiver to Jacksonville and suddenly Jacoby Myers just starts tearing it up. Like, that trade completely changed Jacksonville's season. And they've got Brian Thomas Jr. They got a couple stud backs that are mix and match. Like, there's something about that. They are playing. Maybe they're just playing with house money, but Jacksonville would not be a team I want to play. And Houston, if their defense can take them there, they get a championship defense. I just don't know if they can score enough points. Yeah. And Jacksonville, I think, has shown they can. So,
well, it's just kind of wide open on the other side, but it really seems like, at least in the NFC, Turbo, I agree with you with the Eagles here, but for the way they are playing right now, I think these are the two best teams right now in the NFL. I'm not saying that that's going to be the case come playoff time.
Win streaks would say that. So
yeah. So that's how big this matchup is. It's so awesome that these two teams are in the same division, have a bunch of history, and it's all coming down to the last week of the season. All right, let's go to the money side of the ball where both head coaches reside. The Seahawks defense versus the San Francisco 49ers offense. I know we talked a little bit about that just with the head coaching, but we kind of just did a 30,000 foot view and maybe a little bit with the Brock Purdy conversation as well. But let's go into that specific matchup and what you guys are looking for, because that's where all eyes are going to be on, because it's probably two of the best units in the NFL. Seahawks defense versus 49ers offense, at least right now, as we talk about it here. And we're previewing Seahawks 49ers Saturday night, all for the number one seed for the NFC West crown, as much as you can think of. We're going to come back in a quick second, and we'll talk about the side of the ball where both head coaches do their coaching for most of it. Seahawks defense, 49ers offense. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Seahawks Squad Show. My name's Anderson Hurst. I got Robert Turbin, Super Bowl 48 champion and former Seahawk, with us today. And Corbin Smith, host of Locked On Seahawks. Thank you guys for joining me. And thank you all for listening, however you're consuming us, whether it's live on YouTube, afterwards on a podcast, or if you're watching us on YouTube afterwards because you love seeing our beautiful faces. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's chat one last time about this matchup because this is just such a juicy one, guys. Seahawks D, 49ers O. I'm just going to leave it open. Corbin, where are you looking? It's going to be so fun on Saturday.
I'm looking at, is George Kittle healthy? Is Trent Williams healthy? I'm looking at those two things. Are they healthy enough to play? And I'm also looking at the fact that the equalizer himself, Nick Emanwari, is going to be back in this game because that was really a turning point in the first matchup. He got hurt 4 plays into that game. And in Ty Okada's defense, like he wasn't prepared to do that. He was not prepared to come in the game and play the role that they had game planned all week for Nick Emanwari. And Okada's done a lot of great things. He is not 6'4", 230 pounds and runs a 4.32. Like you're not gonna be able to do the same things. They had to try to on the fly change up their schematics with the game plan and stuff. And they had several weeks without Emanwari and they had to make those adjustments. And so now I think they're more comfortable and Okada obviously is going to be probably playing for Kobe Bryant, who was listed as a estimated non-participant today for practice. So there's a really good chance we're going to see Okada out there. But I think Emanwari is the difference maker here. I think Seattle wins that first matchup if he does not get hurt. I think he's that kind of an impact player in that game. And one of the reasons they drafted him was for these kind of matchups, all the really good tight ends in the NFC West. So I'm looking at that matchup there and how he impacts the run defense as well. When San Francisco they've not been an overly efficient running team this year. They haven't been. They've ran the ball a lot, but they haven't had great yards per carry. Like, can you make it where Brock Purdy has to beat you? And I know some are going to say after watching that game Sunday night, well, is that necessarily where we want to be? Yeah, with your pass rush. Like, Chicago had no pass rush.
No.
Seattle is not going to let that happen. And they're not going to let Brock Purdy have those 18-second long runs around the pocket. Like DeMarcus Lawrence is not going to let that happen. Leonard Williams is not going to let that happen. Derek Hall upset about his suspension and coming back. He ain't going to be letting that happen. So I think if you can get that run game neutralized and get a lot of second and third and longs, and then having Nick Emanwari against the tight end, like that's where the advantage is to be. If San Francisco can run the ball well on first down, though, then suddenly it shifts and San Francisco has a lot of advantages.
Turbo, who has the edge on this side of the ball?
To me, it's the Seahawks defense. I just think that all three levels, they have the advantage right now, especially if George Kittle and Trent Williams don't play. The Niners, they're not going to win with the extended run game. Those quick swing passes to Christian McCaffrey or the quick little, routes out there out wide. Like the defense is too fast for Seattle. They're gonna eat that stuff up. And so if the 49ers are going to be able to be successful there, they're going to have to challenge Seattle down the field. And I just think that that Seattle's better. The other thing too is the Niners have a really, really good play action boot game. And so the edges are going to be really important. That discipline is going to be a big key factor to me in the matchup. If you are allowing Brock Purdy to kind of be able to move the pocket off play action and have a little bit of time, then I think that's where the 49ers offensively may be able to have some success. But if those edge rushers can stay disciplined and, either keep Brock Purdy in the pocket or chase him down while he's trying to move the pocket and roll out, it's going to be a long day for the 49ers offense. So I think Seattle's got the advantage here.
Okay. And that's something that DeMarcus Lawrence is just specialized in. It's absolute discipline in his pass rush, and he's even gotten some sack production lately, which I love. He's been such a good player. On that note, Corbin, you weren't with us post-game, but we had a little discussion. Who has been your defensive player of the year for the Seattle Seahawks?
God, that's hard because
it's so hard, isn't it?
I want to go with Nick Emanwari, but I think you got to look at who, the one game DeMarcus Lawrence did not play in, what Tampa Bay did to them. And I know they had a bunch of injuries in the secondary, so there are other guys missing, but I feel like he's been the linchpin of this defense, and he's really taken a great D and taken it to the next level. You can make strong arguments for Leonard Williams or Byron Murphy, or I think Emanwari has been a massive difference maker.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, to me, DeMarcus Lawrence, the touchdowns that he has scored, the fumbles that he has forced. He's got 6 sacks, a bunch of tackles for loss. Just the leadership aspect that isn't tangible with statistics. Like, to me, DeMarcus Lawrence has been the one that has really taken that defense from here to the next. I mean, even Warrior's involved in that as well, but I think you got to give it to the Tank. I think he is, at least in terms of value, he has been the one that has brought the most new value to what this defense is doing this year.
Yeah, I think that was that's the first one I asked was Chris Crawford, and he was the first answer that came out of his mouth. And I think the way Chris mentioned it, as convincing as he can be sometimes, kind of got everyone thinking that. It was like, damn, you're right. The one game you didn't play in, and then if you look at the difference from last year, this year, that's absolutely a way you can go. And he kind of has raised their ceiling as much as he did this year. So I know you're waiting for your prediction, so I'm going to hold off on that for Corbin Smith. But Turbo, what do you got? What's your prediction for Saturday night Seahawks versus the 49ers?
Yeah, Seahawks get a victory. I think the Seahawks get a victory.
You got a score?
You know, I'll call it. I'll call it. What we're gonna call it? 34-24. Seattle.
Ooh, high scoring. Whoa. Okay. 34-24 victory for the Seattle Seahawks. I like that. Corbin's smiling. He just can't wait.
I love it. I love it. Like, you know.
No, I'm gonna go with mine right now. I do think it's a closer game. I honestly have a feeling it's gonna be a last play situation once again. But I think the Seahawks do come out on top this time. Maybe another game-winning 2-point conversion. Who knows? We'll see. Would love to see that for the second time in 3 weeks. But I think we got like a 23-21 situation. Last second field goal for the win from Jason Myers. And the Seahawks get this one, the number 1 seed, the first round bye in the NFC West. It's going to be a huge game. Corbin, I know you won't be doing predictions, but any last thoughts before we say goodbye?
I don't know that there's ever been a game I've been this excited. And I said this with a Rams game a few weeks ago.
I know,
That's
right?
how special this season's been. Like,
yeah,
I am, as a reporter, a non-biased reporter, I'm as fired up to watch these two teams play as I think I've ever been in my 9 years that I've been doing this as a job. So and look, we can all complain about it being Saturday night. I mean, my billfold certainly didn't like it, having to change my flight from Sunday to Saturday and how expensive that was. But dang it, it's going to be worth it. And, I think, Seahawks and 49ers fans have to, be grateful that this is what you get in week 18. Like, this is what you hope for at the end of a season.
Yeah, totally agree. It's a playoff game. In my head, it's a playoff game. It really, really is.
Two teams that hate each other more than, they hate each other more than the leaders did on the two sides in World War II. Like, these two teams hate each other. This is what you want.
Yeah. So, Turbo, let me ask you that for the last couple minutes here. Obviously, the fans have a giant rivalry with the 49ers. You were obviously a big part of that 2013 team that was going head-to-head with the Jim Harbaugh 49ers. Is that hate equivalated or equal with the players on either side as well? Because, like, sometimes you get these massive rivalries, and it's just like, we obviously play them twice a year, but it's like, okay, we don't feel it the same way fans do. But there's some of them that it's like almost graduated to another level. So was that the case for you guys in that 2013 team?
In the heat of the action, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
100%. In retirement, level heads have prevailed. But, like I was teammates with Frank Gore in Indianapolis 2000.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
17 and 18, right?
It probably changed your perspective a little bit. And obviously, that he wasn't a 49er anymore. So
you don't right. Well, but still, at first glance, it was like, it was like a Western movie, where you just, you just hear with it.
We got John Wayne going up.
And Frank is the Tank now. Frank is real. He should be, he's Hall of Fame, I think, candidate, right? He should be first
finalist,
in my opinion. He is the real deal, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not playing around, okay? And the man was in tears when he talked about not being a Super Bowl champion, over the course of his career, and how he would trade being the number 3 all-time rusher for a Super Bowl ring. All right. So it was a real, like, can I vibe with Turbo, or, or the Seahawks 49er thing going to get in the way? We had to make a decision, it was serious now. Okay.
Yeah.
But level heads prevailed. But the rivalry is real. The fans for sure.
Oh.
The thing about the Niners that I always thought was funny is, I'll never forget I was out one time and I was amongst a bunch of 49er fans and nobody recognized me. I must have been in California somewhere because nobody recognized me. It was great. And they're talking trash about the Seahawks and the 12s, and then they started calling the Sea Chickens. And I was like, is that the best you guys can come up with for trash talk? Is that like, that's supposed to Sea Chickens? I thought it was the funniest, lamest, sorriest trash talk name calling that I've ever heard in my, especially as a player.
Right.
I was like, oh, we gonna continue to whoop y'all. If Sea Chickens is the best y'all can come up with, we're gonna continue to whoop y'all ass, and we did. So hopefully they got something different now. I don't know.
I think 40 Winers definitely tops that.
What? Absolutely. It rolls off the tongue better and everything.
Yes.
Where are you getting chickens from with Hawks? Like, there's another name that I will not repeat that is much, like, from a trash talking standpoint, is much better. But we'll leave it at that.
Winer's been around forever. All the fan bases can use that one. You go to Philly. They're not going to say Sea Chickens. They don't look at you like, bro, I'm not saying that.
Philadelphia's got higher trash talking standards.
Yeah, what? I was like,
I'll close the show off with this. That is the only place as a reporter, and look, it made me have more respect for Philadelphia fans. Like, I'm coming in with my pass on, and nowadays, like, this was before COVID. Back then, like, it had like the team that you were covering instead of having both teams on there, and you have to walk through an outdoor alley to get into the press box, and they have an area that you can film out there, but fans are mingling. And like, I'm trying to record a video before the game, like an hour and a half before the game, and I've got people over there shouting "Go Seahawks" over and over again while I'm trying to, like, and at that point, like, after the video, I just went up to a couple of them and I just said, "Well played," and I shook their hand.
Now see, that's funny. Now the faithful 49er faithful need to go learn. Go get bring a notebook, some notes, because that was funny.
I mean, the Eagles fans are the ones that threw snowballs at Santa Claus. Like, those guys have no chill, man. They don't. It's a different game in Philly in every sport. So.
Talk trash right there. That was genuinely funny right there.
Yeah,
genuinely.
So, Turbo, did you flex the ring when you talked to Frank Gore? Just be like, "Yeah, we got this."
Hell no.
Okay. Okay.
No, man, I can't disrespect the man like that.
Okay.
I just told you how he was in tears. I wouldn't exaggerate.
I know.
That's a real story.
I thought it was because of you.
That I would want to have on my bad side either.
That's a real story.
Yeah.
He was and he ended up being my all-time favorite teammate in the NFL. Yeah. He was the best teammate I ever had in the league. Seriously.
I've heard nothing but good things about Frank Gore. I thought you were the one that induced those tears with showing him your ring.
No. He talked about, obviously, Baltimore.
Yep.
These opportunities, man, they're rare. And then when you become an all-time great, it kind of hits a little harder. Like, dang, like, I accomplished all of this.
The one thing missing, right?
So, man, it's tough, man. But that's the way it goes sometimes.
Well, no diss to Frank Gore, because, again, Corbin said it right. I don't think that's a guy you want on your bad side. But hopefully there are some upset 49ers players and fans after Saturday night, because it's just a huge matchup. Seahawks, they've had such a good season. They deserve to win this one. I would love to see them do it and finish it off with the number 1 seed in the regular season and just put yourself in excellent position to go make a run to the Super Bowl. I still think that could happen. This is the last thing I'll say. Even if you do lose this game, and I'm not trying to make excuses or justify anything, it's not a do or die situation. The Seahawks could definitely still go on a run. It's just going to put yourself in a tough situation and make it a lot harder going on the road, being a wild card team. And I honestly don't even care that much about the going on the road because the Seahawks can do that. They've proven they can do that. It's the first round bye that's so huge to me. Get some rest. Get some guys healthy that are banged up, just an automatic win, and you can move on. And that extra week is so massive for a lot of these guys. So that's why this game is so huge for me. So hopefully they get it done. Turbo, Corbin, thank you guys so much for hopping on today. It was really great chatting with y'all, and go Hawks on Saturday. We'll talk to you right after the game for our post-game show, as always, on the Seahawks Squad.